Have you ever beheld or been privy to the existence of biblical depictions where Jesus or the Virgin Mary exude darkened hues, perhaps even figures such as Abraham or King David? Behold, beyond the realms of Europe lies a revelation of biblical icons unearthed from the vaults of Russia, adorned with darker-skinned visages. Lest you speculate if Russia has imbued its own unique interpretation upon these sacred figures, let it be known unequivocally that such conjecture holds no truth. These icons transcend mere artistic peculiarities. They are repositories of profound, enigmatic truths, igniting fervent inquiry into the annals of history and the representation of faith in the unanticipated recesses of religious art. Attend closely, esteemed individuals, for today you shall receive enlightenment akin to none other in this video. Before we continue, kindly endeavor to hit that like button as a way of supporting our work. Share with your families and friends to keep spreading our eye-opening black narrative, and subscribe to stay put for more while you help in building the rising membership of this channel. We appreciate your support.
It's an exhibition which feeds the senses. Everything is so grey outside at the moment, and here suddenly it's a feast for the eyes.
Growing up in a Catholic household in Russia, I was always fascinated by religious art. The intricate details and vivid colors of the icons never failed to capture my attention. But as I got older, I noticed a common theme in these religious paintings. The figures always had fair skin and European features. I started to question why all the biblical icons in my country portrayed Jesus and the other biblical figures as fair-skinned. It seemed strange to me, considering that the events of the Bible took place in the Middle East. And as I delved deeper into my curiosity, I discovered something that completely shattered my perception of these religious icons.
It's very beautiful. It gives you goose pimples. It's a remarkable exhibition.
It's the first time that a large number of Russian icons have come here to Italy. In addition, here are a dozen examples that have never before been moved. They appear for the first time in our catalog.
Russia, known for its vast collection of ancient icons, had recently opened its vaults to reveal biblical icons featuring darker-skinned figures. I couldn't believe it. As I gazed at the images of Jesus, the Virgin Mary, and other biblical figures with dark skin, a rush of emotions overwhelmed me. Shock, confusion, and a newfound sense of curiosity. I had always been led to believe that Jesus was white, like the majority of the icons all over Russia. But as I stared at the dark-skinned figure, I couldn't help but wonder if this was how he truly looked like. Was there a possibility that Jesus and the other biblical figures were not fair-skinned at all? As I delved deeper into my research, I came across a verse from the Bible that caught my attention. For there is nothing hidden which shall not be manifested, neither anything kept secret that would not be brought to light. Could it be that these darker-skinned icons were the manifestation of something hidden and kept secret for centuries? I started to read about the history of religious art in Russia and discovered that dark-skinned biblical icons were not just artistic anomalies. They held deep meanings and symbolism. In fact, the color of the skin in these icons represented the truth about the forgotten origins of Christianity in Russia. According to historians, the ancestors of the early Russian settlers were from the Middle East, and they brought with them their religion, Christianity. But as time went by, the religious art in Russia underwent a significant shift, influenced by European art styles. This resulted in the fair-skinned images of Jesus and other biblical figures that we see today. But why did these Russian icons hide the true origins of Christianity? The answer lies in the turbulent history of the country. During the 16th century, Russia was at war with the Ottoman Empire, which became the center of the Eastern Orthodox Church. To distance themselves from their enemies, the Russians abandoned their connection to the Middle East and changed the depiction of biblical figures to look more European. But the appearance of these darker-skinned icons in Russia is not just a matter of historical accuracy. It raises questions about the representation of different races in religious art. For centuries, people of color have been underrepresented or completely absent in religious art, leading to the perpetuation of the idea that Christianity is a white man's religion. I came across a quote from the Bible that perfectly encapsulates the essence of these darker-skinned icons. We must now see Jesus as darker than his traditional depiction shows. He was not European, he was not South American, he was not African, but he was all these things and more. A recent scientific reconstruction of Jesus's face, based on skeletal remains of a Galilean man, suggests that the man from Nazareth probably would not have looked like an Ivorian, but reportedly a near contemporary neighbor. The reconstruction, which was broadcast on the History Channel in 2015 in the documentary Jesus, The Lost 40 Days, is based on a decades-old archaeological discovery, reported Live Science contributor Owen Jarvis in March 2015. The skull, which is more than 2,000 years old and was found in Jerusalem, was discovered with 2 nails still pierced through the heel bones. This matches the description of Jesus' crucifixion wounds. Using this skull, scientists were able to reconstruct Jesus' face using computerized tomography, CT scans. They then used a computer program to build muscle and tissue around the skull, which allowed them to create a 3D model of Jesus' face. According to archaeologist and television producer Simcha Jacobovici, who was involved in the project, this model is the most accurate representation of Jesus' face to date. The face that emerged is not surprising. It is a face that is typical of many other first-century Jewish men. The reconstruction shows a dark, olive-skinned man with short, curly hair and a prominent nose. This man would have stood about 5 feet 11 inches tall, 1.8 meters, according to the BBC. This reconstruction aligns with what is known about the appearance of other first-century Jews from the region. In fact, it is very similar to the facial reconstruction of another man from the same period, a Jewish rebel named Simon Bar Kokhba, who led a failed rebellion against the Roman Empire. This reconstruction, which was done by the same team that created Jesus' facial model, shows a man with similar features, so it is safe to say that Jesus likely looked like any other Galilean man of his time and place, with no striking physical features that would have set him apart from others. This raises the question, why then is he often depicted as a white man with European features in art, literature, and popular culture? The whitewashing of Jesus has a long history and is rooted in racism and Eurocentrism. After the crucifixion, Christianity spread throughout Europe, and the religion was eventually adopted by the Roman Empire. As the religion spread and became more popular, the image of Jesus began to change. He went from being depicted as a Jewish man to being portrayed as a white European. This shift was likely influenced by the fact that the ruling elites in Europe were white and wanted to see themselves reflected in the Savior depicted in their religious texts. With the rise of colonialism and slavery, this European depiction of Jesus was exported to other parts of the world, including the Americas, Africa, and Asia. This furthered the idea that Jesus was a white man and reinforced the white supremacist ideology that was used to justify the enslavement and oppression of people of color. In recent years, there has been a push for more accurate and diverse depictions of Jesus in art and media. Some organizations, like the non-profit organization Jesus of Many Cultures, have created art and animations that depict Jesus as a person of color in an effort to challenge the dominant white image of the Savior. Scholars and theologians have also called for a more nuanced and historically accurate portrayal of Jesus in popular culture and media. Ultimately, while we may never know exactly what Jesus looked like, it is important to recognize the whitewashing of his image and work towards a more accurate and inclusive depiction of the man who is at the center of one of the world's largest religions. In the end, it is his teachings, actions, and message of love, compassion, and equality that should be the focus of our attention, rather than his physical appearance. As the Bible states in 1 Samuel 16:7, "For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." For years, the Tretyakov Gallery in Moscow had been home to a stunning collection of religious icons, attracting tourists and art enthusiasts from all over the world. But recently, the usual buzz surrounding the museum had been overshadowed by a heated discussion surrounding one specific icon, Andrei Rublev's Trinity. It all started when Russian President Vladimir Putin made a surprising announcement. The Trinity would be moved from its home at the museum to the Russian Orthodox Church for a year. This decision sparked a debate about Putin's increasing reliance on the church and the significance of the holy icon.
The Trinity was painted in the 15th century by famous Russian painter Andrei Rublev. It depicts the biblical scene of the Oak of Mamre, where 3 angels visited Abraham. The vibrant colors and intricate details of the icon had always captivated visitors to the gallery. But now it had been deemed important enough to be transferred to the church. As the news spread, people were divided in their opinions. Some saw it as a powerful move to strengthen the link between the government and the church, while others viewed it as a dangerous merging of politics and religion. But amidst the controversy, another important event was taking place at the Tretyakov Gallery. An exhibition of black icons dating back to the 14th century had just opened. showcasing rare and challenging masterpieces. These icons, largely unknown and hidden from the world for many years, had been brought together from private collections across Russia. They were a strong reminder of a dark period in Russian history, the Soviet era. Most of these icons had been destroyed during that time, and only a handful remained. "It's very beautiful. It gives you goose pimples," said one observer. "It's a remarkable exhibition. It's an exhibition which feeds the senses. Everything is so gray outside at the moment, and here suddenly, it's a feast for the eyes." The exhibition was a rare opportunity to see these black icons in all their glory. Despite the destruction and attempts to erase them from history, they had managed to survive and be preserved by museums. These icons were more than just paintings. They were the survivors of a cultural and historical genocide. As visitors marveled at the unique and powerful pieces, it was impossible not to recognize the impact of the Soviet era on these icons. It was a reminder of how millions of these icons had once existed, but now only a mere fraction remained. But beyond their survival, these icons also represented a challenge to long-held assumptions and a call to rewrite history with a more inclusive lens. For centuries, the presence and representation of black figures in art had been shrouded in obscurity. But now, as these icons were unveiled to the world, they demanded to be seen and recognized. The exhibition was a powerful testament to the enduring strength of truth and the resilience of these black icons. As people flocked to see these paintings, it was clear that their authenticity forced a re-evaluation of our understanding of the past. And perhaps, amidst all the attention and debate surrounding Putin's decision to move the Trinity, the true significance of these icons was finally being recognized. They were not just beautiful pieces of art, but symbols of the enduring human spirit and its ability to survive against all odds. In the early 20th century, Russia was a country undergoing great turmoil. The October Revolution of 1917 saw the rise of the Soviet government, which sought to rid the country of religious influence. As part of this mission, many Russian icons were destroyed or sold abroad by agents of the government. These icons, with their intricate and detailed depictions of religious figures, were seen as symbols of the old regime and were deemed unacceptable in the new Soviet society. But not all icons met this fate. Some were hidden away in secret locations, carefully guarded and protected by those who saw their great value. Others were smuggled out of the country, often at great personal risk. These acts of preservation were carried out by dedicated individuals who believed in the importance of these icons as part of their cultural heritage. As the years went by, the Soviet government loosened its grip on religion, and with the fall of communism in 1991, the outlook for icons in Russia began to shift. Icon painting studios, which had been forced to close down, started to open again. Artists, eager to make a living and revive the traditional art form, began painting in a variety of styles to cater to the local and international market. But it wasn't just the creation of new icons that marked this revival. Many older icons that had been hidden or smuggled out of the country were now being retrieved and brought back to their homeland. And for the first time since their departure, a large number of Russian icons were making their way to foreign lands to be displayed in exhibitions. Over 40 icons, carefully reclaimed and preserved, were now on display in the Castel San Angelo in Rome. These pieces of art, once hidden to protect them from destruction, were now being showcased for the world to see. The exhibition was a testament to the strength and resilience of Russian culture and its enduring connection to religion. As visitors from all over the world marveled at the intricate details and vibrant colors of the icons, they couldn't help but reflect on their journey and the role they played in preserving a part of history. And as they left the exhibition, they carried with them a newfound appreciation for these centuries-old works of art and their enduring legacy. There was a long-standing misconception in Russia that black people did not exist in the country. This belief was deeply ingrained in their history, perpetuated by the lack of representation in media and art. However, a group of black icons, depicting biblical scenes with black figures, had recently emerged in Russia, challenging this historical perception. The icons were the creation of artist Ilya Kudryashov, who was inspired by his travels to Africa and the lack of diversity in Russian art. He wanted to bring attention to the fact that black people have always been a part of history and should be represented in religious art as well. The idea was met with mixed reactions from the public. Some saw it as a breath of fresh air, a step towards diversity and inclusivity. Others viewed it as an attack on their traditional beliefs and a distortion of history. The debate gained momentum when the Russian Orthodox Church weighed in on the issue, stating that the icons were not in line with their teachings and should not be considered sacred. Alexei Ivanov, a staunch supporter of the traditional Orthodox Church, was one of the outspoken opponents of the black icons. He believed that the introduction of these icons was a deliberate attempt by the Western world to impose their values and beliefs on the Russian people. He rallied others who shared his views and organized a protest in front of the museum where the icons were displayed. On the other hand, there were people like Maria Petrov, a young art student who saw the icons as a form of artistic expression and representation. She saw the beauty in the intricate details and the powerful message it conveyed. Maria was a member of a youth organization that supported diversity and was actively involved in challenging societal norms. She saw the controversy surrounding the black icons as an opportunity to start a dialogue about racism and prejudice in Russia. The debate raged on, with strong opinions from both sides. The black icons became a hot topic in the media, and people from all over the country came to see the controversial works of art. The growing attention only fueled the controversy and polarized the public even further. While the debate was mainly centered around art and religion, it opened up discussions about racism and representation in Russia. Many people began to question their long-held beliefs and the lack of diversity in Russian society. The younger generation in particular started to challenge the status quo and demand change. The government was also forced to address the issue as the debates threatened to divide the country. President Vladimir Putin, known for his strong leadership, called for a national address and urged for calm and understanding on both sides. He acknowledged the importance of diversity and inclusivity and promised to take steps towards addressing systemic racism in Russia. Amidst the growing tension, a surprising turn of events took place. Alexei Ivanov, the vocal opponent of the black icons, had a change of heart. After a visit to the museum and engaging in conversations with people from diverse backgrounds, he realized the error of his ways. He publicly apologized for his narrow-mindedness and joined Maria's youth organization in promoting inclusivity and diversity in Russia. The controversy surrounding the black icons eventually died down, but the impact it had on Russian society was profound. It sparked conversations and brought about a shift in mindset, creating a ripple effect that would lead to a more inclusive and diverse country. Years later, the black icons were celebrated as a symbol of cultural change in Russia. They became a tourist attraction, drawing people from all over the world to see the unique and thought-provoking works of art. And for the first time in history, black people in Russia felt seen and represented in their own country.